Well, we've officially made it. I've officially now seen Avengers Endgame, and I decided that I'm going to do something that I've never done before. I'm going to split my discussion of a movie into two. This is the non-spoiler section in which I will just give you I will not spoil anything. I might talk about a couple things that would be spoilery, but I wouldn't give the whole plot. I'll save that movie for probably next week because I want to be able to give the people who haven't seen Endgame yet the time that they need to see this movie. Because this movie is a masterpiece. This is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen in my entire life. No exaggeration. I also know exaggeration. I may or may not have cried about like 4 or 5 times in this movie. I don't cry easily. This is a movie in which I cry easily at. Particularly near the end. Man. So what is the plot? Well, the basic plot is the Avengers are just trying to come back together and stop Thanos and try and undo what Thanos did. So the way they marketed it in the trailers, yeah, that is not how things play out in this. I will not say how. This is sort of relying on the subversion of expectations. This heavily subverts your expectations. Like, it really flips them around. And a lot of people aren't happy with subversions of expectations. They're not a big fan of that. I think it works for this. It really, really works. And you think, oh, yeah, the Avengers are going to come back together. You think it's going to be set 22 days after the events of Infinity War. Mild spoiler, except for the opening scene. This takes place 5 years after Infinity War. And that took place in 2017, 2018. That means it's now 2022 to 2023. Oh, man. And not only that, but once again, mild spoilers. What they do with Hulk and Thor is very interesting. With Hulk, Bruce Banner do some gamma experimentation. He's able to keep the body of the Hulk, but he's able to keep the mind of Bruce Banner, so he's become Professor Hulk. That's really cool what they did with the Hulk in here. But, man, there are a couple scenes in which whenever he smiles, I just like, God, the Uncanny Valley. And then there's Thor. If you saw him like Ragnarok and in Infinity War, he's nothing like he is in Infinity War, in those movies. Once again, spoiler, after what happened with Thanos, Thor just, after he settled New Asgard and after, half their people died and all that other stuff, all Thor's been doing is just been sitting and just drinking beer. He's just become an overweight, just drunk version of Thor. And when the first time you see him, it's like Rocket and Hulk are trying to get him back to the Avengers, and he's just sitting drinking beer while Korg and Meek are playing Fortnite. Also, really glad the fact that they brought Korg and Meek back. Very glad for that. But yeah, man, I'm sorry I may or may not have spoiled that, but I'm sorry, man. But not only that, but what happened with Hawkeye, of course, the whole reason why he became Ronin was because his family did die in the decimation. And now he's just becoming a vigilante, and they're trying to get back together in order to stop Thanos. That's sort of what does happen. Not going to exactly reveal how they subvert your expectations with that, but you could have watched every single trailer, and it would have given nothing away. It would have given nothing away. But I really like how the fact that they're able to bring back a lot of characters that you would have never expected to return for these movies. Like, you never would have expected them to return, but they do. One one performer in particular, I'm not going to say who to keep it vague, but you think they wouldn't have gotten them back? You think Marvel wouldn't have gotten them back? Because they're very much like they were not a big fan of like being a part of these movies. No, they got them back. And sure, it's only for like one shot and a couple lines, but it is nice knowing the fact that they did bring them back. And because this is the Endgame. And not only that, but surprisingly enough, it's actually a lighter film than you would expect it to be. Sure, there are dark moments here and there. I mean, of course there are, but this is definitely a lot more lighthearted than all the other, probably one of the most lighthearted Marvel movies that they've done. Because if Infinity War is the dawn, the dawn, this is the day. This is like when the sun rises after the day, like the dawn. After something like that, this is the Endgame is the day. This is the new day. Not only that, but everybody really brings their A game to the role. Everybody really brings their A game to the role. They bring 100% to this role. Even for the most minor thing, even the most minor characters, they bring their A game too. They're great. Even with Thor, while yes, he is not the Thor that you probably would have wanted to see, he is still he is able to keep, he still retains the spirit of the Thor that you know, while also able to have some really epic moments here and there. And of course, the character interactions are great. And not only that, but this is probably the most lighthearted out of all of the Russo brother movies. Because they've been known for Winter Soldier, Civil War, and Infinity War, some of the darkest Marvel movies that they've done. But this still feels lighthearted. Like, this is probably the most lighthearted out of all of them. And, man, the way they're just able to balance everything together. I do have a couple plot holes and a few nitpicks put here and there, but they're not major. Like, for example, I feel like Captain Marvel in this movie probably should have just been called Captain Convenience, because she only shows up near the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie. Like, oh wow, I really wish that you would have actually been here the whole time. Like, you had an entire movie setting up about how important you were, and you don't even show up for the entirety of the movie. Like, you're only here for the beginning, and you're here for the end. Good for you for that, but for just showing up, but... Yeah, but to be honest, I sort of can be able to take that away because Brie Larson, the actress who plays Captain Marvel, they filmed her scenes before they filmed the Captain Marvel movie. Like, she filmed her Endgame stuff before she filmed the Captain Marvel. So she sort of had no idea who the character was going to be, and I am glad the fact that they are able to sort of keep the spirit that this character has. But, yeah, there are some things that I wish they sort of did differently. And there are a couple plot holes that I will address, but they're way too spoilery to address, so I am going to save them for next week. So, overall, Avengers Endgame is the most powerful out of all the Marvel movies. The performances are all on their A game. Everyone is probably the best they are ever going to be at. This is the best possible ending, the best culmination that Marvel has ever gotten to. And I salute them for that. I salute you, Marvel. And I didn't give even though I wanted to give Infinity War a score, I wanted to see how Endgame was going to come and how everything was going to pan out with Endgame. With this, I can happily give both this and Infinity War both perfect scores. 10 out of 10. So, yeah, this is the non-spoilery discussion for Avengers Endgame. So, tune in next week where I discuss all the spoilery stuff. So until next time, stay gold.